This year, many of you are beginning this journey of becoming the greatest version of yourself and the journey of doing things that you were placed here to do, which means that there are bits and pieces of yourself that you have grown out of. There are parts of yourself and parts of your thought processes that no longer work and will no longer serve you for where you are going to. And while these things have served their purpose, there comes a season where we have to put away those particular things. As we were once a child, we then become a man and we put away those childish things. But some of those things that we have to put away is not just what we did or how we thought, but the place that it was birthed from and the people that we have surrounded ourselves with that enable or that encourage that type of behavior. One of the things that I have learned and one of the things that I have seen time after time again is that we will attempt to drag people and places and things from one season of our life into the next season of our life. And the truth is that there have been some people that have been identified through the vicissitudes of life that you have endured. They have been identified through your trying times, through your growth seasons, that you have to recognize when it's time to make a separation from those relationships. And that can be challenging and that can be very difficult because most of us are very comfortable with familiarity. But sometimes familiarity breeds contempt. And that contempt can ultimately be the very thing that delays you from going forward. The question would be, how can it delay you? It can delay you because you will find most of your time trying to fit within inside of the box of whatever that comfortability is, not wanting to break out of it, out of the fear that you will disappoint some of the people that are around you, whether it is family, whether it is friends, whether it is places where you have worked, whether it's a significant other. You can hold yourselves hostage and subject to trying to stay within inside of the confines of whatever comfortability was created from the dynamics of your relationships. Ultimately, you hold yourself back. And I know that for many of us, it becomes very challenging to identify when it is time for me to walk away. When is it time for me to do something different? When is it time for me to remove myself from this particular setting? And that can be a challenging thing. But I want to talk through that today because I believe that many of us are sitting on the seat of this greatness that is waiting to be birthed out of us. And sometimes we can't walk into that greatness because of who we're trying to carry along. There is this one verse and passage of scripture that always just kind of rings out to me. And it's in Matthew chapter 10, verse number 14. It says, if anyone will not welcome you or listen to your words, leave that home or town and shake the dust from your feet. I've always thought that it was very interesting that the term dust was used. I think that's interesting because dust is something that you pick up from whatever setting or whatever place you so happen to be standing. And what that scripture is really saying to us is that whatever you have picked up as a byproduct or as of a result from someone that does not receive you, it can be lasting. I don't know if you're like me, but I grew up in a very small town with people who were very afraid to move out, people that were very afraid to try anything different, to try anything new. We demonized anything or anyone that tried to do something new. And many of the times it was out of love that the people that were surrounding us, our family, it was out of love that they influenced us by their own fears. Things that did not work for them were things that they were afraid to do. They infiltrated the thought processes of the children and those that grew up in that community. So much so that the people who did not branch out, the people that did not try, they stayed there. And Nothing ever became meaningful of their existence beyond them continuing the process of what had already been done in that particular space. Sometimes there are people around you that not necessarily just don't like you, but the problem is they've never seen themselves becoming anything great. And so the fear of you stepping out to become something great, it can mean that they have to now stand face to face with their own inadequacies or their own failures or their own inability to branch out and to try something different. Many times we hold ourselves hostage to other people's fears. We hold ourselves hostage to other people's doubts about themselves that they want to impress upon us. And it is not until you have made the firm decision that where you're going, that where you have been is not going to hold you hostage anymore. There has to come this point in your life where your future and the idea and the dreams that you have, that they become the factor that drives you towards greatness despite what you have to disconnect yourself from. And one of the lessons that I've learned during that time that I would love to share with you is that an invitation or someone trying to make me prove myself to you or prove the dreams that I have to you or to prove that I am worthy of something, that's not an invitation for me to try harder. When I look back through the scriptures at all of the different characterizations that we find in the scriptures, whether it is Moses that was told that he had to leave, whether it was Abraham that was told that he had to leave, whether it was Joseph that had to leave, whether it was David that had to leave from those that did not believe in him or from those that tried to hold him back, whether it was Jesus that had to leave his family, we find this reoccurring theme that people have to leave. Matthew chapter 10, verse number 14 really gives us an example of why we have to leave. That when people don't believe in you and when people are not encouraging you, when people are not speaking into your life, when they're not speaking into where you're going, you will find yourself trying to prove yourself. And that takes the time and the energy away that could be better used in creating and becoming this person that you were meant to be. I want to ask you a question today. How much time have you spent in your life trying to prove yourself on a job? How much time have you spent in a relationship trying to prove your value or your worth to someone else? The question would then remain, or the question would then be to us, is it that we don't believe that we are worthy? That we feel that we must prove ourselves to individuals that have never gone the path or direction that we were meant to go, and we find ourselves trying to explain or trying to defend or trying to prove our value or worth. When you have the truest picture of who you are and where you're going, you lose the interest in trying to accept the invitation of proving yourself to people that will never see you anyhow. If someone has never been where you're going, they're not going to be able to see the path forward for you because things are going to look very different. If someone has never done what you have done before, then of course it's going to be difficult for them to catch the vision because that vision was put inside of you. The reason why I make this message today is because I believe that there are countless numbers of people that have held their own progress back up to this point because you've been trying to prove yourself to people that don't have the vision for where you are going. The moment that you can recognize that this was not a conference call, that this call and this dream and this vision was planted on the inside of you, and if you don't go for it, if you don't go after it, it will linger through your heart and through your mind all of your life. What if I had gone the direction of where I knew I should have gone? What if I had started that business? What if I had launched out and tried that relationship? What if I had broke the barriers and began to explore moving to different countries or to different cities? What if? I want to challenge you today to live now in the space of the what ifs, of creating that space of doing those things that you would ask yourself, what if I did them? There is another scripture that says, cast your bread upon the waters because you don't know which direction it will go. And this year, I'm going to tell you to just try. Just do the things that excite you and stop wasting time trying to prove yourself to people who are intent on not seeing or believing in you. Stop trying to see or make yourself valuable to people that just cannot afford to see your value. You have to remember that there are certain stores that I won't even walk in. There are certain stores I won't even go shopping in because truth is I really can't afford it. So because of that, there's no point in going to shop in that store. There are some people that cannot even see your value because they can't afford where you're going. They can't afford the greatness that is on the inside of you. And every time you stop and you try to prove your worth or your value, you devalue yourself just a little bit more in the presence of people who will never be able to afford what you have on the inside of you. I want you to imagine the opportunities, the relationships, the things that you are holding yourself back from that better align with who you are and what gifts and tools and talents have been placed on the inside of you. That if you gave yourself a moment to close the door on the wrong things, imagine the doors that will open up for all of the people, the places, and the things, and the relationships that truly align with where you're going and who you are. Imagine the freedom of no longer having to prove yourself to people who will never see your worth. Imagine yourself being around an environment of creative individuals that have the same type of mindset, that the moment that you link with them, I promise you, just 3 weeks can make 3 years of being with the wrong person all seem like they were insignificant. You can do more around the right people in just 3 minutes than you can do in 15 years being around people that you're constantly having to answer or to defend or to respond to their questions about who you are and where you're going. I want you to do yourself a favor this year. I want you to surround yourself with people that believe in you, people that will encourage you. I want you to wipe the dust off of your feet from anyone and anything that is making you question or doubt your value. There are so many gifts and tools on the inside of you that the moment you branch out, those tools will begin to operate at their optimum, their greatest capacity, their greatest ability. Friends, there's so much inside of you that has yet to be seen. And maybe it has not been seen because you've been standing in the wrong places. Simply placing yourself in the position around the right people will cause your life to elevate in ways that you've only been able to dream about up to this point. I believe that this is a season for you to walk in massive miracles. But I believe that in order to walk in those massive miracles, there are some people that are just not allowed to go with you. And maybe the reason why the massive miracles have not happened within the time that you have imagined them to happen is because you've been entertaining the wrong things and the wrong people. I remember when I was growing up, it was something as simple as my mother or my grandmother would hold back the candy or hold back the things that she had prepared for her grandchildren until everyone else left the house, because she didn't really want to share it with everyone else. She just wanted it for her children and for her grandchildren. And so we would get excited knowing that once the company left, we got to get the exciting things, the good things that were prepared. Sometimes it's just the company that you keep. Sometimes it's the company that you keep, and that's the reason why you're being held back. That the moment that you remove yourself from that company, the things that are really meant for you will actually flow in your life. Maybe God doesn't want you taking the time that you could be creating and trying to explain to people that will never understand you in the first place. This is your season of greatness. I need you to wipe the dust off of your feet, and I need you to move forward into the path and the plans that were meant for you. I hope that today's message has encouraged you. It has blessed you. Please drop me a message. Drop me a message and just simply let me know that this message has encouraged you, and consider sharing it with someone as well. I thank you so much for being a part of my community. I get so excited every single time that I get to communicate with you, and I get equally excited every single time you send messages to me, you encourage me, because they keep me watered and they keep me going. So thank you. My heart and my prayers are out to those that are in California and Los Angeles that are struggling right now and battling the fires. I am sending my heart, my prayers, my thoughts. I am sending all of my goodness and light towards you during this time in this season. Family, I would that you would consider today just simply sending me a message, or for those that sow on a weekly basis, thank you so much, my friends and my partners, my supporters. Thank you so much for all that you do. And I'm praying for you this year that you would leaps and bounds go forward, and you would do what you only imagined in your dreams. I pray and I hope that every single time you go to reach for something, you have more than enough there. I pray and I believe, God, that anything that your hearts have set out to do, that you will find the help that you need in abundance. God bless you today. Thank you so much for joining. Check that link out that's somewhere in the bio, and make sure that you click, you subscribe, and even those that sow, thank you so much again. God bless you. Have an amazing week.